Hello friends, today we will discuss our topic routing. Well, routing is a very important part of the computer network. In the CN, that is computer network, we use the routers for the connectivity and the switches and hubs and LAN and the various devices. But what is routing? The main question. See, we use the router for sending or receiving the data from one router to another router. And the routing means to find out the shortest path for sending the data from one location to another location or the one party to another party. So we have two aspects in the routing. The first one is to find out the shortest path. So routing is to find out the shortest path. So to understand the first aspect, that is find out the shortest path, we are going to take the example of routers in which there is a connectivity from source to destination and we have to find out the path from source to destination. So let us suppose we have the two routers. One is the source, here stands for source, and second one is D stands for destination. And from source and destination we have various routers between them and various interconnections are there. Now we are going to provide the name from the source as the router number A, then B, C, D, E, F, router number G and H. So router number A is our source and router number H is our destination. Now the part of the connectivity. Now the connectivity is from router A to router B, then router B to router F, then router F to router H, then from A to D, then D to E, E to H, then A to C, C to G, and at last from router number G to router number H. So you can see that from source to destination we have three main possible paths. If I am talking about the first possibility start with the router number A to B to F to H. So let us suppose I am going to provide the particular distance parameter from source to destination between each routers. From A to B the distance is 1, B to F distance will be 2, from F to H is 1, suppose from S to D is 3, D to E is 5, E to H is 6, A to C is 7, C to G is 1, G to H is 2. So if I am talking about the ABFH, which is our first path, the total distance will be, it is 1 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 4. So now check out the next distance from source to destination, that is from A to D, from D to E and E to H. Now if I am talking about the distance from A to D is 3 plus from D to E is 5 plus E to H is 6. This total is equal to 14. Now there is one more possibility, that is from source to destination, that is from A to C, from C to G and from G to D, or maybe you can say from G to H, because we consider D as the destination. Now if I am talking about the distance, from A to C the distance is 7 plus C to G is 1 plus G to H is 2. Total is equal to 10. So if I am talking about the distance, as we know that we have three distance. So if I am talking about the distance, we have three distance all in total. The one is 4, second is 14 and third is 10. So fourth one is shorter. So 4 is the shortest distance. That means if I am going to find out the shortest path, that is from A to B, then B to F, then F to H. So this one is our shortest distance. Now, so that is the first issue of routing. Now the second issue of routing, to find out the second best path. So we have discussed our first issue in which the path 1, that is ABFH, that is 1, 2 and 1. That is the total sum is equal to 4 is the shortest. But we are going to discuss about the second issue of the routing, that is find out second best path. Now what if the router number F is congested? If the router number F is congested, that means it will not pass any of the packet from router B to router H. In that case, it will take more time to pass the packet, so that the path A, B, F and H, that is the shortest path, will not be considered as the shortest path because it will take too much time. So the path number 1 is not correct for us. Now, what about the second path? As we see, the second path is A, C, G and F. That is, shortest distance is 10. So we will consider the second best path to send the packet because the router number F is congested. So to select the second best path, which is the combination of 7 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 10, is our second best path. So because the router number F is congested, it will not pass any of the packet from B to H. We are not considering the path from source to destination, that is equal to 4, that is the shortest path. So we will consider the second best path. So these are the major two issues under the routing. Now we will discuss the routing algorithm, and there are various routing algorithms we will discuss. Now we will discuss the routing algorithms. So we will discuss the various types of algorithm. The first one is the optimality principle. Second one is shortest path routing. Third one is flooding. Fourth is distance vector routing. Fifth is link state routing. And the last is hierarchical routing. So firstly we will discuss the optimality principle under routing algorithms. Now the optimality principle. To understand the optimality principle, let us take the example of two routers. Suppose the name of first router is I and the second router is K, and there is the optimal path from I to K. You may say the optimal path has the shortest distance. Suppose I am going to provide the name of the optimal path from router A to router K as I. This is the small I. Now let us suppose there is one more router between I and K, that is J. So let us provide the name of the path from I to J as the small k, and from J to K as a small j. So now the optimality principle states that if the path from I to K is optimal, then if any router exists between I and K, that is J, so the path from I to J and J to K will be optimal. So now the optimality principle states that distance between I and K, that is small I, if this is optimal, then if there is any router exists between I and K, that is J, so the path from I to J, that is small k, will be optimal, and from J to K, that is small j. Next we have the shortest path routing. To understand the shortest path routing, let us take the example of a diagram which we have earlier discussed. Now here we have the different connectivities from A to H. A is our source and H is the destination. From A to H we have different connectivities, so we will provide the weight or the shortest paths. Let us suppose the distance between A and B is 1, B and F is 2, and F and H is 1. From B and D is again 1, D to E is 7, E to F is 1, D to C is again 2, A to C is 1, C to G is 3, and G to D is 1. So the shortest path routing, the first main principle is to find out the shortest path. In the shortest path routing we have to find out the shortest path, but the shortest path will be based on the different parameters. The first main constraint about finding the shortest path is geographical distance. In the geographical distance we will find out the shortest path from source to destination that will be based upon the distance covered. So we have the various distances, just like the A to B is 1 and so on. So now we will find out the distance between source to destination according to geographical distance. So we find out the different ways: A to B, from B to F, from F to H. If I am talking about the distance from A to B, that is 1 plus B to F is 2 plus F to H is 1, that is equal to 4. Now we find out the next path. So the second one is A to B, B to D, D to E, E to F, F to H. So the distance from A to B is 1, B to D is again 1, D to E is 7, E to F is 1, and F to H is 1, that is equal to 11. Similarly, we have the next path, that is from A to B, then B to D, D to C, C to G, G to H. Now if we are going to consider the path from A to D in that manner, the total sum will be is equal to A to B is 1, then B to D is again 1, D to C is 2, C to G is 3 or G to H is 1. That is equal to 8. And the next path is AC, C to D, D to B, B to F, F to H. And the total sum, the geographical distance from source to destination with the help of this path is 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 7. The next path will be from source to destination is A to C, C to D, D to E, E to F, F to H. And the geographical distance from A to H with the help of this path is from A to C is 1 plus C to D is 2 plus 7 from D to E plus 1 from E to F and plus 1 from F to H. That is equal to 12. The next and the last path from the source to destination is from A to C, C to G, G to H. And the total geographical distance is from A to C is 1 plus C to G is 3 plus G to H is 1. That is equal to 5. So the conclusion is that we are having 6 possible paths from source to destination, that is from A to H, and we have the different geographical distance. If you are going to follow the first path, that is the 4 geographical distance, then 11, then 8, then 7, 12 and 5. So according to the geographical distance, the shortest path is 4. Now we have one more aspect except the geographical distance, that is number of hoops. To understand the number of hoops, let us take the example of any of the paths. Example, the path is A, C, G and H. So in that particular path from A, C, G and H, we have particular 2 routers from source to destination, that is C and G. So we have to cover 2 routers between them, so number of hoops is equal to 2. So number of hoops, that means is equal to number of routers. So we will start with the first path. In the first path we have from A to B, that is the B, then B to F, again second router, that means we have to cover 2 routers between them, so we will write 2. So between E to H, in the first path we have 2 routers, then in the second path we have the between router, that is B, D, E and F. So in the diagram we will see in the path we have the B, then D, E, F. So the total number between A to H is 4. Now the next path we have the B, D, C and G. That is equal to 4. Now again the similar path, between routers are again 4. In the next we have the C, D, E and F. That is equal to 4. And the last one we have C and G, that is equal to 2. So now we can see that according to number of hoops or the number of between routers, we have 2 shortest paths. That is the first one, which is shortest according to number of hoops, and again the last one. So we can take any of the path which we want, right? So according to number of hoops, the first one is shorter, and again according to the geographical distance, the first one is shorter. So we have a different aspect, maybe geographical distance or maybe the number of hoops. You can take any of the aspect you want, that will be up to your requirement. So that is all about the shortest path routing based upon the 2 techniques, geographical distance and the number of hoops. Now we'll discuss the next principle or algorithm, that is flooding. So next we have the flooding. In the flooding, every incoming packet is sent out on every outgoing line except the one it arrived on. To understand the line, let us take the example of the diagram in which we have a start node or the sender. We provide them the name as the S, that is the sending router. It is connected with 3 particular routers. So the source is connected with all the 3 routers, with the first one, second and third, providing them the name as the A, B and C. Each router is connected with further one more router, providing them the name as I, J, K. They are again connected with one more router, providing them the name as L, M, N. Why we use the flooding? Because here source don't have the idea about the destination. Now say example, let M is our destination, but source don't have any idea about the destination. Why is the reason? The reason is that because there is no direct connectivity from source to destination, and there is no idea between all the routers about the destination. So source will send the broadcast message to nearby router except itself. Now again, A, B, C and routers will send the broadcast message to the next routers, that is I, J and K. Similarly for the I, J, K, broadcast to L, M, N. Now all the N nodes for the routers L, M and M will receive the data packets, but here we have the destination, that is D, or we can say the M. So M will just take the data and L and N will discard the data. So L and N is discard the data. Packets are discarded because they are no destination, but D, that is the destination, will accept the data. That is exactly same as the flood in the rainy season. So that's why we provide the name as the flooding, because rain don't have any direction and the flood don't have any direction. So that's why the networking term flooding is taken from the flood in the rain. So that is all about the flooding. So we can see that in flooding, every incoming packet is sent out on every outgoing line except the one it arrived on. But there is a major disadvantage because there is a broadcast message, so we have the duplicate data. So the main disadvantage is duplicate data or duplicate packets. And the application of flooding is in two fields, that is in the military and the distributed database. So that is all about the flooding. Now we will discuss distance vector routing. So next is the distance vector routing, which is also called the Bellman-Ford routing algorithm. And there is one more name to distance vector routing, that is Ford-Fulkerson algorithm. In the distance vector routing, each router maintains a routing table giving the best known distance to each destination and which line to use to get there. To understand the distance vector routing, let us take the example of diagram which we have previously discussed, in which there is a source and destination, and between source and destination there are various interconnecting routers which provide the different paths from source to destination. In this diagram we have router A, that is source, router number H, that is D, destination, and each router contains a routing table. A has the routing table, here RT stands for routing table. Similarly, all the routers contains their own routing table. Routing table for B, routing table for C, then routing table for D, similarly for E, F, G and H. So in the distance vector routing, each router maintains a routing table indexed by and containing one entry for each router in the subnet. And each router which contains the table provide the best distance to the destination. And each entry in the routing table contains two paths. The one is preferred outgoing line to use for that destination and an estimate of the time or distance to the destination. So the router is assumed to know the distance to each of its neighbor. Now in the distance vector routing we have a main problem that is called count to infinity problem. The main problem under distance vector routing is count to infinity problem. To understand the count to infinity problem, let us suppose we have the 5 routers. They are on the same line. Now these nodes and the routers have their own names. The first is A, then B, C, D and E. In the shortest path routing, we have discussed the number of hops. Number of hops is equal to number of routers. So let us suppose A will start the communication. A will start the communication. In that case, B, C, D and E don't have any data. So as A has started the data, B, C, D and E don't have any data at the initial stage. Now when the data packet passed from A to B and after one exchange, the value of b will be 1 because the number of hopes before the b, that is only a, so it will be 1. So b will be 1 and rest of all will be blank because data is only received with b. Now when the data will pass from a to b, and now in the next turn after 2 exchange, the data will be passed from b to c. That means before c we have two routers a and b, so value of c will be 2 and rest of the routers d and e will be blank. In the next turn after 3 exchange, the data packet will pass from c to d, and before d we have 3 routers, that is a, b and c, so value of d will be 3 and rest of the router, that is e, will remain blank. And next, that is after 4 exchange, packet will pass from d to e, that means before e we have 4 routers, that is a, b, c, d, so the value of e becomes 4. So all the values indicate that the number of router before them. So 1 indicate the number of router before them. The value of e is 4 because we have 4 routers, that is a, b, c and d before it. So that's why we have the value. This is the normal condition. There is not any problem. But when the problem arises when the router A start the communication and drop out because of any of the network failure or the power shutdown, and after that count to infinity problem arises. So to understand the count to infinity problem, let us modify this diagram. Now we'll modify the diagram and take the last line, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, the number of hopes, as the initial condition. Now suppose this one is the initial condition in which we have the value of b, c, d and e as the 1, 2, 3 and 4, that is the number of hopes, and let us suppose a goes down. Now at the first packet exchange, b does not hear anything from a because a goes down now. Fortunately, c says, don't worry, I have a packet to a of length 2. C will provide information to b that I have a packet. B thinks it can reach A via C with a path length of 3. D and E do not update their entries for A on the first exchange. That will be 3 and 4 as it is. Now on the second exchange, C notices that each of its neighbor claim to have a path to A of length 3. So C will update the entry after 3, that is 4. The value of B is 3. The value of C becomes 4, that is the next hope, and all the values will remain same. Now, after the third exchange, again the value of C is 4. D might confuse that the value of 4 is greater than 3, so it will update its table with 5, and value of E will remain same as 4. Now, B will think that the value is 4 and the value of A will come after the C, so it will update the table as 5. At the fourth exchange, the value of B is 5. Now C will notice that the value of B is 5, so it will update the value as 6, and the value of D and E will remain same as 5 and 4. So you can see that this is the inconsistency of data. The bad news travels slowly. No router even has a value more than 1 higher than the minimum of all their neighbors. All routers work their way up to infinity. For this reason, it is wise to set infinity to longest path plus 1. This problem comes up to the infinity. That means each router will update their value unnecessarily until the infinity. That's why we call it as the problem of count to infinity. The problem only arises when the A just goes down. That is all about the distance vector routing. Next we will discuss is link state routing. Next we have the link state routing. Now the link state routing and the distance vector routing both are the dynamic routing. Distance vector routing was used in the ARPANET until 1979 when it was replaced by link state routing. Two primary problems caused its demise. The first one, its delay metric was QLEN. It did not take line bandwidth into account when choosing routes. Now the second problem we have earlier discussed, that is the count to infinity problem. For this reason it was replaced by an entirely new algorithm that is called the linked state routing. So in the linked state routing, each router must do the following. The first one is discover their neighbors and learn their network address. Second, measure the delay or cost to each of its neighbor. Construct a packet telling all it has just learned. Next, send this packet to all other routers. And the last is to compute the shortest path to every other router. Now we have the 5 steps. Now we will follow the steps one by one. Now the step number 1 is to learning about the neighbors. To understand the learning about neighbors, let us take the example of a diagram in which we have three different LANs which are connected to a single network. When a router is booted, its first task is to learn who are its neighbors. The goal is accomplished by sending a special hello packet on each point-to-point line. Let us suppose we are going to provide the names to router A, B, C, D, E, G, F, I and H. They are all connected with the help of a single LAN. Now we can see that the router A, router C and F are directly connected with that particular LAN. The diagram illustrates that the LAN to which there are three routers A, C and F which are directly connected. Each of these routers is connected to one or more additional routers as shown in figure. One way to model the LAN is to connect it as node itself. So we can modify the diagram and generate the artificial node, that is N, which will connect A, C and F. Now we will take the artificial node, that is N. It will connect all the routers A, C and F. Now we will send a special message, that is hello packet, to each point-to-point line. The router on the other end is expected to send back a reply telling who is it, and the name must be globally unique. So to check out the neighbor, N will send the hello packet, is again sent to C, similarly to A, and all the neighbor router will reply back to N that I am your neighbor. So all the neighbors will send the packet reply back to N, that is who I am, that means I am your neighbor. Then the A, C and F router will just follow the same rule as it is followed by the N. For the B, D, E, G, H and I, they will also reply back that who I am, and for that, by the help of hello packet, the router number N have the information about all its neighbor. Now the next step is measuring line cost. The linked state routing algorithm requires each router to know, or at least to have, a reasonable estimate of the delay to each of its neighbor. To determine the delay, it is to send over the line a special echo packet that the other side is required to send back immediately. In the first step of learning about neighbor, we have used the hello packet, and measuring line cost we will use echo packet. Echo packet is used to find out the distance this neighboring node. The router number N will send the echo packet to any of its neighbor, will send echo packet, and the other side will send the back packet immediately. Now by measuring the round trip time and divide it by 2, the sender router can get a reasonable estimate of the delay. So let us suppose the send echo packet time is A and the immediate reply time is B. So the round trip time is equal to A plus B, and the estimate of delay is equal to round trip time by 2, that is equal to A plus B by 2. So we can find out the measuring line cost with the help of this particular estimate delay. The next one is building linked state packets. Let us suppose we have a diagram in which N is the starting node, and we are going to provide some particular distance to all of the nodes. Example, from A to N is 1, N to F is 2, N to C is 3, C to E 1, D to E 1, C to D 2, B to A 3, H to I 2, I to G 7, H to E 1, G to F 3, I to F is again 1. So in the building linked state packets, Once the information needed for the exchange has been collected, the next step is for each router to build a packet containing all the data. The packet starts with the identity of the sender, followed by sequence number and age, and the list of the neighbors. So let us suppose we have a list of the N router in which we have the entries. So it will maintain a table in which we have the number, sequence and age and all the distance with the particular neighbor routers. So we are going to build the table of N router. So we will write the entry as the N. Then we will write the sequence number. Sequence number will depend upon the network. Then we will write the age. So under that we will check out the immediate neighbor of N. The immediate neighbor of N are A. So we will write the entry as A. Its distance, that is 1. Check out the next neighbor, that is C. We'll write here C. Distance 3. Check out the next neighbor, that is F. Write here F. The distance is 2. Write 2. So this is the table which we generate. Now, after building the table, we have the next step of distributing the linked state packets. This is the trickiest part of algorithm in which the distributing the linked state packets reliably. As the packets are distributed and installed, the router getting the first one will change their routes. For that, we will use the basic distribution algorithm. Now, each packet contains a sequence number that is incremented for each new packet sent. Then after that, after generating a linked state packet, we have the next step, that is computing the new routes. Once a router has accomplished a full set of linked state packets, it can construct the entire subnet graph because every link is represented. Now, the extra algorithm can be run locally to construct the shortest path to all possible destinations. The result of this algorithm can be installed in the routing table and normal operation resumed. So that is all about the linked state routing. Next we have the hierarchical routing. So next we have is the hierarchical routing. As the network grew in size, the routing table grew proportionally. At a certain point, the network may grow to the point where it is no longer feasible for every router to have an entry for every other router. So the routing will have to be done hierarchically. The example of the hierarchical routing is telephone network. To understand the hierarchical routing, we will take the example of telephone network. Let us take the example of diagram. Here we have a switching office. The switching office is connected to the two regional offices. This is the regional office A, and same the B is the regional office. Then after the regional office, we have the local offices. A is connected with the local office. So we have the local offices, that is X and Y. This is the example of telephone network. Well, the telephone network is the best example of hierarchical routing. You can see that here we have a switching office which is connected to the regional office A and B. That which will provide service to A and B. A and B will control all the local offices, that is X, Y, and further may be possible. So we can see that there is a particular hierarchy, that means local, then regional, then the switching, then again with the regional and the local. So that is all about the hierarchical routing. So we have discussed the routing algorithm, that is optimality principle, shortest path routing, flooding, distance vector routing, linked state routing, hierarchical routing. So that's all about routing. Thank you.